Airplanes are incredible machines that make it possible for us to travel long distances quickly, but did you know they have some really weird and interesting facts? Beyond their cool looks and how they work, airplanes have some quirky and surprising things about them that often escape the notice of an average passenger. In this video, we'll explore the weird and wonderful facts about aviation, from the purpose of round airplane windows to the secret language of flight attendants. So, strap in, and get ready for a flight of discovery as we explore the weird and wonderful world of airplanes. 1. Some planes can fly for 5 hours with only one engine. Some airplanes are specially designed to keep flying for a long time, even if one of their engines stops working. This is called ETOPS, which stands for Extended Range Twin Engine Operational Performance Standards. It's a certification that twin-engine aircraft need to get if they want to fly long distances over water or remote areas where there aren't many airports nearby. One example of an airplane with ETOPS certification is the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. It can keep flying for over 5 hours with only one engine working, before needing to land. This is possible because the airplane is built very strongly and tested thoroughly to make sure it can fly safely with only one engine. This is important for airlines that fly long distances over oceans or remote areas, as it allows them to offer more direct flights without having to stop at intermediate airports. It also makes flying safer for passengers, as the airplane can still fly for a long time even if one engine stops working, giving the pilots more time to figure out what's wrong or find a suitable airport to land at. So, while it might sound a bit scary to think about an airplane flying with just one engine, it's actually a testament to how well these airplanes are built, and how skilled the pilots are at keeping everyone safe in the sky. 2. Some planes can also land with no operating engines. Some planes possess a remarkable capability, the ability to execute a safe landing even if their engines cease to operate. This feat, known as a dead-stick landing, or gliding, underscores the meticulous design and the skill of pilots in managing emergencies. When an aircraft loses engine power mid-flight, it enters a state of unpowered flight. In such a scenario, the pilot must rely on the aircraft's aerodynamic properties to maintain altitude and control its descent. Despite the absence of propulsion, planes can still generate lift by manipulating their wings and controlling their angle of attack. Gliding relies on principles of aerodynamics and energy management. Pilots must swiftly assess their altitude, airspeed, and available landing options. By adjusting the aircraft's pitch and banking, they aim to maximize the distance they can glide while seeking a suitable landing site. Pilots undergo extensive training to handle emergencies like engine failure. Simulator sessions and real flight scenarios equip them with the skills needed to execute dead-stick landings safely. They practice managing the aircraft's energy, navigating potential landing sites, and communicating with air traffic control for assistance. Dead-stick landings are extremely rare, but they have happened in the past and have saved the lives of countless passengers and crew. They are a testament to the safety and reliability of modern aircraft, as well as the skill and training of airline pilots. 3. Airplane trails are made up of water. When you look up at the sky and see long, thin trails behind airplanes, you're actually seeing something called contrails, which are made up mostly of water vapor. Contrails, short for condensation trails, are formed when the hot exhaust from an airplane's engines mixes with the cold air at high altitudes. This causes the water vapor in the exhaust to condense and form tiny ice crystals, which then spread out behind the airplane and create the long thin trails that we see. Contrails are usually white and dissipate relatively quickly, but sometimes they can persist for hours, spreading out and forming a hazy layer of cirrus clouds. This is especially common in areas with high air traffic, or in places where the air is particularly cold and moist. Contrails are mostly made up of water vapor, but they can also contain small amounts of other exhaust products, such as carbon dioxide and particulate matter. However, these are usually in very low concentrations and do not pose a significant threat to the environment or human health. 4. Your taste buds change during flight. When you fly on an airplane, your taste buds actually undergo a change. This is because the low pressure and low humidity inside the aircraft cabin can affect your sense of taste. At high altitudes, the air pressure inside the airplane cabin is lower than it is on the ground. This means that there are fewer oxygen molecules in the air, and your taste buds rely on oxygen to detect flavors. As a result, you may find that your food and drinks taste different during a flight than they do when you're on the ground. In addition, the low humidity inside the cabin can dry out your nose and mouth, making it harder for your taste buds to pick up on subtle flavors. This is why many people find that food and drinks taste a bit bland or muted on an airplane. To counter this effect, many airlines try to serve foods that are rich in flavors and seasonings, such as spicy or strongly flavored dishes. This helps compensate for the changes in your taste buds during flight, and makes your in-flight meals more enjoyable. 5. The Wright brothers were not the first people to fly a plane. Samuel Pierpont Langley, a renowned American aviation pioneer and scientist, made history by successfully flying the first ever unmanned aircraft before the Wright brothers achieved their famous flight in 1903. In 1896, Langley's unpiloted steam-powered aerodrome flew over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., demonstrating the possibility of powered heavier than air flight. This was a significant achievement at the time and paved the way for future developments in aviation. Langley's work in aviation was groundbreaking, but his attempts to develop a manned aircraft were not as successful, and he was ultimately overshadowed by the Wright brothers' accomplishments. Nonetheless, his contributions to the field of aviation are still recognized today, and the aerodrome can be seen on display at the Smithsonian Institution's National Air and Space Museum. 6. Airplanes are not allowed to fly over the Kaaba. The Kaaba, located in the sacred city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, holds profound significance in Islam as the focal point of pilgrimage, and the direction toward which Muslims around the world pray. One of the intriguing aspects associated with the Kaaba is the restriction on air traffic over this sacred site. Airplanes are not allowed to fly over the Kaaba, and this prohibition is deeply rooted in religious and cultural traditions. The decision to restrict air traffic over the Kaaba stems from the reverence and respect accorded to this holiest of Islamic sites. Mecca, the city where the Kaaba resides, is considered the most sacred place in Islam. It is a sanctuary where Muslims come to perform rituals, seek spiritual fulfillment, and connect with their faith on a profound level. The prohibition on airplanes flying over the Kaaba is primarily a measure to preserve the sanctity and tranquility of the area. It reflects the desire to maintain an atmosphere of reverence and devotion, undisturbed by the noise and presence of aircraft. Furthermore, the restriction serves practical purposes as well. Mecca witnesses a massive influx of pilgrims during the Hajj season and throughout the year for Umrah. Ensuring airspace control over the Kaaba helps manage air traffic, and enhances safety measures during these periods of heightened activity. The restriction on airplanes flying over the Kaaba underscores the significance of respecting religious sensitivities and cultural traditions. It is a manifestation of the deep reverence Muslims hold for this sacred site and the desire to uphold its sanctity in every possible manner. 7. There are no airports in Vatican City. Vatican City, the world's smallest independent state, holds the distinction of being the spiritual and administrative center of the Roman Catholic Church. Despite its global significance, Vatican City lacks one conspicuous feature: airports. Unlike many sovereign states, Vatican City does not have its own airport for domestic or international travel. So, why doesn't Vatican City have an airport? Primarily, the small size of Vatican City renders the construction of an airport unfeasible. With its limited land area and tightly packed urban environment, there simply isn't enough space to accommodate the sprawling runways, terminals, and support facilities necessary for air travel. Additionally, Vatican City's geographical proximity to Rome provides convenient access to several major airports in the region, including Leonardo da Vinci Fiumicino Airport and Ciampino G.B. Pastine International Airport. Given its small population and the nature of its administration, Vatican City doesn't require an airport for governmental or logistical purposes. Instead, it relies on well-established transportation networks within Rome and Italy for its transportation needs. 8. Flight attendants have a secret language. Flight attendants often use a secret language, also known as crew slang, or airline jargon, to communicate with each other during flights. This language is made up of special codes, abbreviations, and terminology that may not be familiar to the average traveler. The purpose of this secret language is to quickly and efficiently convey information about passengers, situations on the plane, and other important details. By using a shorthand language, flight attendants can communicate important information without disturbing passengers or taking up too much time. Some common examples of flight attendant slang include Chucky or Charlie, for a disruptive passenger, buckle up the potato farm to remind crew to check seatbelt usage, bongo juice for coffee, full squat for a fully booked flight, and avianca style to describe a chaotic situation. While the specific terms used can vary, depending on the airline and region, the use of a secret language among flight attendants is a common practice in the aviation industry. It allows crew members to communicate effectively and efficiently, ensuring the safety and comfort of passengers during flights. 9. Airplane windows are round for safety reasons. The shape of airplane windows may seem like a small detail, but there's actually a very important reason why they are round rather than rectangular or square. The primary reason for the round shape of airplane windows is safety. Airplanes are pressurized to maintain a comfortable cabin atmosphere at high altitudes. However, this pressurization puts stress on the windows, and the force is strongest in the corners of rectangular or square windows. Round windows are stronger, and less likely to develop stress fractures or break under pressure. In the unlikely event that a window does fail, the round shape helps to contain the damage and prevent the window from shattering or breaking into sharp pieces that could injure passengers. In addition to safety, round windows are also easier to install and maintain than rectangular or square windows. They require less structural reinforcement and are less likely to leak or develop cracks over time. So, the next time you look out an airplane window, remember that its round shape is not just for aesthetics, it's actually a clever design feature that helps keep you safe and comfortable during your flight. 10. Some planes can fly backwards. It may sound impossible, but some airplanes are actually capable of flying backwards, at least temporarily. This unusual ability is called backward flight or reverse flight. Backward flight is usually achieved through a maneuver called a tail slide. In a tail slide, the pilot pulls back on the control stick, causing the airplane to pitch up and climb steeply. If enough altitude is gained, the pilot can then push the control stick forward, causing the airplane to stall and fall backward in a controlled descent. Another way to achieve backward flight is through the use of a special type of aircraft called a STOL, short takeoff and landing plane. These airplanes are designed to fly at very low speeds, which allows them to fly backward in a strong headwind. Backward flight is mostly used for aerial stunts or demonstrations, and it's not something that you'll typically see on a commercial airliner. However, it's a testament to the amazing capabilities of modern aircraft and the skill of experienced pilots. Thanks for watching. See you next week.